Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks and another edition of Lockdown News Roundup, or should it be called trying to ascertain what news articles have more than 10% of truth in them? Because looking at the mainstream, to me, it seems more like a giant psyop on the public. That's it, that's all it is to me. Every story is about interjecting fear, confusion. It's trying to make people angry with someone or something, to bewilder people. It's like a big magic spell, continually, slowly being sown every day. Chaos magic, Discordianism, practiced on the public in a slow way, building it up to create chaos so that they believe they can create order out of that chaos that ensues. I mean, look at this guff. What have we got here? Justin Trudeau, heckled online for using elongated 2SLGBTQQIA+ people acronym. What is that? Yeah, they seem to really like adding letters to this, don't they? I mean, just out of curiosity, I had to look this up to see what had been added. It says here 2SLGBTQQIA+ means two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual plus. Yeah, it's getting a little bit bonkers, isn't it? And it's deliberately getting bonkers. What is a two-spirit? Again, I've had to look this up. It says here, a two-spirit refers to a person who identifies as having both a masculine and feminine spirit, and is used by some indigenous people to describe their sexual gender or their spiritual identity. Okie dokie, whatever floats your boat. You can pretend to be whatever you want to be on whatever day you want. I may be wrong, but is that about the gender of your spirit guide? Is that what it is? Never mind. I think we can all see where this is heading, what the long-term agenda is there. It's all bonkers, and a lot of these stories, they're coming thick and fast to try and drive people of the world loopy, I reckon. It could well be. Now, the next one ties in with the Facebook agenda, the fake book agenda, another agenda. Every story is linked to an agenda, something that these control freaks want to change down the line, which usually leads to you losing more freedom of speech, restricting your life in some way because they want to capture us all and put us into a digital trap. But at the same time, they are now scared that too many people will awaken to what's going on, and they can see they are actually wising up. So they are going full steam ahead. Here we see Australian puppet tyrant Prime Minister Scott Morrison. He said social media is a coward's palace. Australia's PM declares as he warns Facebook should be held responsible for defamatory comments made anonymously. Now, as you know, the fake book whistleblower, she was planted to say what she said, which then got Facebook to say that Congress should get involved to secure the internet and who uses it, and expect to see more puppet tyrants around the world come out and say this type of thing, because they eventually want a digital passport for the internet, which will probably be the Vax passport if people keep complying. I hope the people of Victoria, Australia, are drawing a line in the sand in regards to the threat of not going to work. I hope they are sticking to their guns. The mainstream is also awash with food supply issue stories, and turkeys running out, Greggs running out of sausage rolls. Oh my goodness, what will become of us now? Greggs running out of sausage rolls, and different stores saying, oh, we're not going to have enough for Christmas. Here's another one. They are claiming to now be pouring milk away. HGV driver shortage. Dairy farmers forced to throw away tens of thousands of litres of milk because of crisis. A farmer said they had been forced 40,000 litres of milk over the past 2 months after no HGV drivers turned up to collect the produce. I know what you can do. There's that politician, Charles Walker. Wasn't he walking around London with a pint of milk in his pocket, or was it 2 pints of milk? I can't remember, in solidarity for the people for some reason, whatever that was all about. Give him a shout, he's got a spare pint of milk in his pocket. When is the majority of the public going to realise the source, the real source of the problems here? Another scare story. You know, when you see these stories in the media and they all sound the same, they are all going down a very similar path. That's because it's all orchestrated and controlled. And there are organisations like, for example, Project Syndicate, who, as they state, are an international media organisation that publishes and syndicates commentary and analysis on a variety of global topics, etc., etc. Organisations like this work with Reuters and others to get these stories syndicated out through the mainstream. This is how they control the mainstream. All you need to do is look at who funds them. For instance, in this case, you can see it's the same old names. George Soros, Open Society, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, etc., etc., and all the other usual suspects. So anyway, what else do we have here? Again, more talk about blackouts. Now National Grid in UK warns of a greater risk of blackouts in Britain this winter because electricity supplies will be tight after undersea cable fire. As Putin drives up gas prices, inflation soars and supply chain crisis threatens food shortages. How many more scare tactics can they fit into that one headline? It's strange, isn't it? I mean, because here is a story from Ireland in the Irish Examiner just last week. Government can't rule out widespread electricity blackouts. The warnings have come from both the regulator, the Commission for Regulation of Utilities, and operator Grid, which say electricity supply will remain tight for many years to come. Okay, so you're getting the exact same talk in Ireland about blackouts in their mainstream media. The same thing. I know someone who sent me an email who received a blackout leaflet as junk mail, offering them a 24-hour phone call emergency service on the chance that there may be a blackout coming in the near future. I mean, what's that all about? Again, this is either priming you for actual blackouts that will happen, or it's just another scare story to bewilder the public. Again, keep you all disorientated. Luckily, you who watch this channel, you know that the media is the big problem here, the big problem we have, and are not to be trusted whatsoever, and that they are playing mind games. You're lucky you know this, so it can't affect you as badly. But what about the people out there who buy into this big time and still believe all of this guff? They are still in the majority. I mean, the ones who a couple of weeks ago were rushing out and buying petrol, that proved that they still have the effect. There are so many weird images being put out at the moment. I mean, look at that Boris Johnson and his build back butter, build back bitter, and build back batter, right? All of this is plain weird. And that's the idea. Just images that leave you scratching your head in bemusement. It's like some giant magic spell being played on the public. Then you had, of course, Joe Biden and his 6 minutes, 6 hours, 6 days reference. Then Greta Thunberg, when she's not getting black goo poured over her head and doing a peekaboo symbology, she's saying blah, blah, blah. If you check out the word blah, if you spell it as B-L-A, it actually comes up in Pythagorean numerology. It says here the numerical value of B-L-A, blah, in Pythagorean numerology is 6. So again, you've got Biden saying 6 days, 6 minutes, 6 hours or whatever, and Thunberg, she's saying at the same time blah, 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 which can be translated to 666, while she's saying build back better. And here we have Boris trolling the nation with his fish and chips and butter, saying build back butter or whatever, which of course many say, you know, the build back better, the B is a 6. So it's all getting very surreal. Like I said, I feel this is designed to confuse the people, those who look at this with no filter on. To me, there's some form of chaos magic being weaved on the public. Chaos magic, sometimes referred to as success magic or results-based magic. Chaos magic claims to emphasize the attainment of specific results. It's about creating a reality. Usually this is done on an individual basis, but it could be used on a much wider, grander scale. Mindlessness can be reached through the encouragement, the forcing of intense emotions, through the medium of dance, drumming, chanting, sensory overload. You can see a lot of this carry on with the Extinction Rebellion crowd, the way they make a big show out of their protests, or rituals, whatever you want to call them, with the ones dressed up in red, and so on. You know the score. You also have Discordianism, which is linked to chaos magic, and is the worship of the Eris, aka Discordia, the goddess of chaos. It's basically like the jester's religion, who look to playfully invert social conventions through humour and chaos. Look, you can look at it in all sorts of ways. Is it magic being used? Is it psychology? Is it behaviour control or neurolingual linguistic programming being used? Is that a form of magic? Chaos magic and Discordianism is linked to neo-pagan and satanic cults. It says here, chaos magicians believe that they are able to transform both their perception and the substance of the world by magically reshaping the chaos force in accordance with their own desires. Merged with the therapeutics of spirit possession, such practices also aim to render visible and subject to control the demons of the psyche, conceived as the socially inculcated fears, desires, and patterns of behaviour which possess people. So we've all heard of the phrase order out of chaos, which is a motto of the Freemasons. I believe a motto of the 33rd degree Freemason. And looking through these stories today, I mean, there's loads more I could go through, which are all like doom and gloom, which if the idea is to influence people, then these stories are talking about chaos, blackouts, food running out. They are talking about chaos coming in the future. The picture they are painting is a mess. Is this the reality they are trying to create with this media, with this chaos magic? People really need to awaken to the deceptions, the propaganda that is being shoveled their way. They need to stop falling for the obvious games. They need to wise up, wake up, and do it fast. And I feel they are to a certain degree, because we are seeing more and more of these weird stories being pushed, being forced out quicker and quicker in order for them to try and achieve the agendas they have planned. And they're scared people are getting wise to them. As always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to the tribe at hugotalks.com, a place for like-minded souls who don't follow the herd.